Samanta Chakravalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Sandhamang Munirajase Sunantu Sagga Mokkadang Dhammasavana kalo ayang bhadanta Dhammasavana kalo ayang bhadanta Dhammasavana kalo ayang bhadanta Durangamang ekacharang asarirang guhasayang ye cittang sanyamessanti mokkhanti mara bandhanati. Dear friends in Dhamma, today we are going to deliver a special Dhamma talk from Ottawa Theravada Buddhist Vihara in Canada. So we are normally every Monday evening we are delivering Dhamma talk. So it is completely pleasurable Dhamma talk that everybody can hear this Dhamma sermon. So it is very important to listening Dhamma for everybody's life, because of hearing this Dhamma talk is improving our Dhamma knowledge and also inner happiness and also spiritual energy. You know, there is the Lord Buddha said, Kalena Dhamma Savanang Etang Mangala Muttamang. Listening of Dhamma in proper time is giving a lot of benefits for the lives. That is what mentioned that Pali term in Mangala Sutta in Kuddaka Nikaya. That is very, very important to listening Dhamma sermons anytime as much as possible in our life. It will be successful our day-to-day lives with mixing of doctrinal approaches, with mixing doctrinal conceptual aspects. I'm always saying that Buddhism is not a religion, especially Buddhism is actually philosophy. As a great philosopher, the Buddha found out this special, most significant philosophy to overdue to avoid all the sufferings. Once the Buddha said, this world is full of suffering. Dukkho loko patittito. This world is full of suffering. All the beings, not only human beings, all the beings, even animal, even deities, even some other beings also suffering illnesses. It would be mental illness or it would be physical illness. That's why this Buddhist philosophy is giving a lot of conceptual advices to avoid illnesses. or suffering, or to avoid diseases. That's what very important of eradicating diseases from the human mind is giving happiness, spiritual peacefulness, and developing inner peace inside of human mind. The human beings are special beings in this world. You know, one of the Sanskrit poem, they mention that ahara nidra baya maitunancha samanya metad pashubik naranam dharmena tesha madiko vishesha dharmena hina pashubik samana. You know, there are 4 types of activities that familiar with even animal. What are them? Ahara, the taking foods. First one is taking foods. The second one is nidra, which means getting sleeping. The second one. The third one is ahara nidra bhaya. Bhaya means fearing for something. Fear from something is third one. And then fourth one is maitunancha. That means giving birth to others, giving birth to other beings. Those 4 types of activities are similar with even animal. But what's the difference between human beings? That they are following, they are listening, they have special memory, and also they are following doctrinal approaches. In the pre-Buddhist era, there was 2 things that rule in this world. What are them? What are the 2 things that was in pre-Buddhism? The first one is fear, which means in Pali, bhaya. The other one is shame, which means hiri otap, fear and shame, hiri otap. Those 2 things was those 2 things were rule in world human beings with avoiding of all the defilements, all the bad behaviors, all the irritative activities. That's what used to control throughout world with using of those 2. I'm going to say again what are those 2 are. Hiri otap, fear and shame. Those 2 concepts were ruled in this world or throughout world, all the human beings. That's what very important, those 2 concepts. You know, in this human mind is totally full of suffering. Totally full of suffering. The Buddha wanted to explain the nature of this mind. The Buddha wanted to elucidate how to proceed these mental situations, this mind intentions. in the third basket of Tripitaka, the very famous part of three baskets, the deepest doctrinal approaches were included to that third part of basket, which means metaphysics in Abhidhamma, which means Abhidhamma. The Buddha divided 4 types of paramatta: Citta, Rupa, Citta, Chaitasika, Rupa, Nibbana. The first one is Citta, which means mind. And then the second one is Chaitasika or Chetasika. That means ideas, intentions. The third one is Rupa, which means forms. The fourth one is going to be described Nibbana, emancipation. The four types of these elements were described in metaphysics as a real truth, as a real nature of this world. We have to investigate these 4 types of real truths. What is the mind? How to proceed it, and how to control our mind. How can we grow up with happiness, with avoiding of suffering? We have to investigate mind like this way. That is what the Buddha wanted to figure out. How can we use this Buddhist conceptual aspects for the inner peace? That's very important approach. The Buddha was founded out. There are 2 types of practical way that all the human beings have to avoid those 2 ways. The first way is Kama Sukallikana Yoga, which means sensual pleasure, the path of sensual pleasure. The second one is Atta Kilamatanu Yoga, which means self-torture. Those 2 types of paths we have to avoid from our spiritual journey. Those 2 types of paths are not going to give the real happiness to our lives. That's why the Buddha said that to follow middle path. That is the way how to understand this nature of mind. That is the way how to recognize our inner intentions. Our mind is always depending on our thoughts. What types of thoughts arising to our mind, that is the way how to proceed human activities. We have to choose, we have to collect the intentions which are arising to our mind accurately and punctually. That's the best action to all human beings can be followed by choosing good ideas to further procedure in day-to-day life to get rid of all the mental sufferings on behalf of accepting bad intentions. That can be developed, that can be reduced inner spirituality, inner happiness, and inner meditative thoughts, and that can be develop consciousness even. That is the most significant thing that we can understand while we are practicing these great doctrinal concepts. The Buddha said, Durangamang ekacharang asarirang guhasayang. In this Pali poem, the Buddha tried to elucidate how can we recognize our mind. We cannot say our mind is living in our heart or living in our brain. That is confusing. The Buddha said, this mind is going far away, Durangamam, faring afar. Ekacharang, the wandering alone. That is the other one, other nature of other fact of nature of mind. Asarirang, guhasayang, which means living in cave by alone. Asarirang, bodiless thing. There is no body for the human mind. Someone who are able to subdue this mind, those persons are capable to emphasize final emancipation. Those people are able to understand real truth. That is what we have to discuss in this Dhamma sermon. Nature of our mind. How can we understand our inside mind facilities? That is very important thing in our life. With living of understandable mindset, that is developing our day-to-day activities and real happiness in our spiritual life. Everybody like to live with happiness thoughts. Nobody want to suffer with irritative intentions. If somebody want to really reduce their mental defilements, they have to understand, they have to control their mindset. They have to emphasize how it will be working day-to-day life. the looking of inner intentions is giving more confidence to our life. The looking of inner nature would be helpful to increase our mindfulness. You know, the Buddha said, always as a human being, always we have to try to reduce our mental illnesses, the mental diseases. You know, there are a lot of mental diseases that can be find out in accordance with one of the special sutta. We can call it Roga Sutta in Samyutta Nikaya. That sutta mentioned there are 44 types of mental diseases. Actually, the Buddha wanted to explain these 44 types of mental illnesses with remedies, with the prescriptions. The Buddha explained all those prescriptions for the 44 types of mental illnesses. Like example, someone who are getting angry, how can we find out what is the solution of reducing this mental hatred? The one and only solution is cultivating the heartfelt thoughts, the loving kindness ideas, always inside mind. That's the great responsible reason for the reduced hatred. And then, like some other examples would be someone who are feeling with, someone who are falling down with greediness. How can we find out good solution for the greediness? The most greediness is generosity, cultivating generosity. You can practice, you can give some others the things that they wanted. That is most significant thing when we are practicing generosity in their life. They can share the things that what some others wanted. That's great practicing, which is related to Buddhism. There are 3 types of training methods: Dana, Sila, Bhavana. Dana means alms giving, or we can explain another way, generosity. Sila means morality and virtuous, practicing virtue. And then third one is Bhavana, meditation. Those 3 types of training methods are help to control human mind. So if our minds are going far away, we can practice these 3 training methods to heal our mind. When we are practicing virtues, inside mind is going to be reduce mental sufferings with increasing of positive ideas, positive thoughts in our mind. And then when we are practicing meditation, there are variety of meditation methods that we can find out in accordance with Buddhist canon. There are 2 types of meditation methods, mainly the Buddha focused. The first one, samatha, and then vipassana. Samatha means tranquility meditation, and then the vipassana means insight meditation. So we can practice any types of meditation method to control our mind with familiarizing of any types of meditation method is giving variety of gigantic benefits for our life. That's very important. The most important thing is learning and practicing. Buddhism is not depending on person or gods. That can be practiced individually. The Buddhism is developing mind with practicing individually. Any person can practice Buddhist concepts. That's giving a lot of benefits for the human life. Practicing loving kindness, practicing equanimity, practicing tranquility, practicing of mindfulness. The variety of practicing meditation methods are giving new experiences for the human lives. This is what the Buddha wanted to achieve with promulgating this Buddhist philosophy. The Buddha was not a god. Actually, the Buddha was a human being. He was a special human being. And his doctrinal concepts were special, heart-feeling philosophy. Once occasion, the Buddha mentioned that Vejjupamo jinavaro saddhammo osadupamo. The Buddha was as a great doctor, and his philosophy was a great medicine for the human beings. The Buddha's main investigation was about mind. What types of mental intentions arising to human mind, and how can we control our human mind? What are the methods that can we apply to control our human mind? Those types of questions resolving with reading of Buddhism. Actually, the Buddha had gave all the responsible reasons in his teachings for the easiness of human beings. You know, that is why I have mentioned that Pali poem in accordance with Dhammapada, Durangamang Ekacharang. That is how recognize about this mind. Durangamang. This is the thing that traveling far away, that going far away. Durangamang. Ekacharang. This is the thing is dwelling with alone. Asarirang. This is the thing is living with bodiless. Guhasayang. The mind is always living in cave. There is another nature of mind. There is another thing of nature of mind. These aspects, these regulations are helping to find out mental behaviors, the nature of mind. We can find the way with using of these concepts. The Buddha said in Dhammapada, Mano Pubbang Gama Dhamma. The mind is proceeding this human body. The afolohicted thing. The people are always running and following this mind concepts. They are not going to understand the nature of human ideas, human intentions. That is the significant thing which we have to understand with listening these types of Buddhist Dhamma sermons. That's very important for our lives. The Buddha mentioned that there are 3 types of mental defilements that human beings should be avoided from their mind. What are those 3? Lobha, dosa, moha. The first one is lobha, greediness. Moha, which means delusion. Dosa means hatred. The people are clinging to this world and some other things with subdue these three types of mental illnesses. We have to eradicate these three types of mental defilements. These are the symptoms of all the mental and physical suffering. We have to try to eradicate these three from our mind forever. That is what the Buddha told, to always understand what types of mental thoughts that can be raised to our mind. Someone who are practicing generosity, practicing morality, practicing meditation, that is the way how can we eradicate, how can we avoid these all the mental defilements. It would be help to control mind. It would be help to focus our mind. The peaceful mindset can be developed, mindfulness, gumption, or wisdom, sila, samadhi, panya, developing virtues, developing consciousness, developing wisdom. Someone who are able to avoid these mental shortages from the human mind, that would be help to develop mental goodnesses such as happiness and wisdom and loving kindness thoughts. That's very important thing in human life. Practicing all those good things in this human life is going to be give a lot of benefits for the oneself and others. That's the benefits which we can gain from listening Dhamma sermons. Kalena Dhamma Sakaccha Etang Mangala Muttamang. The Buddha mentioned in Mangala Sutta, the discussing of doctrinal conceptual things are giving a lot of benefits for the human life. You know, in modern psychology, the psychologists found out there are a lot of mental diseases such as stress and dementia and bipolar, some other mental diseases. The practicing of Buddhist meditation is giving all the responsible reasons and solutions to reduce those types of mental stresses from the human mind. Buddhism is always we can apply for the any types of mental illnesses in human lives. That is the most significant approach. That's the most significant accomplishment of our lives. The understanding of human mind and recognize of mental intentions that can be developed good stage of human life. That is how the Buddha wanted to explain about nature of mind to avoid all the suffering with avoiding of mental defilements throughout human life. Someone who can be able to control their mind, it looks like, the farmers are trying to control the bring water from one place to their fields with creating a special path. That's the way how to control our mind is. We have to proceed our mental thoughts with a special path, practicing loving kindness, practicing tranquility, equanimity, and practicing mindfulness. Those are giving a lot of benefits, and those mental good intentions are giving energetic feelings to our mind with avoiding of mental suffering, with avoiding of mental illnesses. Sometimes when we are practicing morality or virtues or meditation, it would be arising 5 types of hindrances. The 5 types of hindrances are hindering to our mind. You do not want to practice virtues. You do not want to practice generosity. Those types of hindering intentions can be arise to our mindset, such as sensual pleasure or sloth or torpor or ill will or proud or jealousy or some types of hindering intentions would be arising to our mind while we are practicing virtues or meditation or good habitual things. We have to understand what types of hindering intentions arising to our mindset while we are practicing Buddhism or doctrinal approaches or any types of good behavioral things. That is another significant aspect. So anyway, we have discussed today Dhamma sermon. There are a lot of important, valuable things. We have discussed actually what's the nature of mind and what types of mental illnesses that can be arise to mind, and then what are the solutions to avoid mental defilements, and what types of conceptual aspects that can we practice in accordance with Buddhism. Various types of concepts we have discussed today Dhamma sermon. So finally, I'm going to finish today Dhamma talk in this point. So finally, we have to share all the merits with heavenly beings. We have to share all the merits for them. With transferring these merits, they will be happy, they will be peaceful. Finally, they will be understanding, attaining supreme bliss of Nibbana. Thank you so much sharing today Dhamma sermon for all of you. Finally, I'm going to chant the gathas to share merits to the Devas. Akasattha cha bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu loka sasanang. Akasattha cha bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu loka sasanang. Akasattha cha bummattha devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu loka sasanang. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.